Daf Lamed Amud Aleph, 5 lines from the top. Back to Gemara, Umi Amar Rabbi Shimon Elazar Hachi. So previously we learned that Rabbi Shimon Elazar said that for a person who's aroused and who eats an enormous amount, we don't assess the shear, the amount for the Erev according to what 2 meals that he eats, which is excessive. We determine it based on 2 meals of an average person. So in fact, the Gemara, do we really determine a giant or a huge person based on an average person? We learned in the Brisa, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Oig Melech Habashan, Pisla Kameloy. For Oig Melech Habashan, a giant, the size of a Pesach, of an opening, is according to Mullah, according to his size. So the context over here is we're discussing the halach of Tumah. A mess that's in an oil, it's in a house, the entire interior of the house is tamei. What's ever under the roof is tamei boil a mess. Where the Pesach that the mess could be taken out of, the doorway, the entranceway over there is tamei. However, if there's a designated entrance that we say the mess will be taken out of that particular entranceway, then that one is tamei, but the rest of them are torah. If there's nothing to distinguish between the psachim, and if it hasn't been determined and nothing to distinguish, then all the psachim are tamei. Now, if you have one Pesach that is daled by daled or more, which is the size where a mess could be taken out of, if the other ones are smaller, so we say that the large Pesach is considered to be the designated Pesach, because that one the mess can be taken out of. The other ones are too small. We don't assume one would dismember the mess. So the larger Pesach is the one that's considered designated. That one is tamei, the rest of them are torah. But let's say you have a huge person, an Oig Melech Habashan, where a Pesach of Dalet al Dalet is not large enough for him to be taken out of. So to apply this halacha to somebody like that, we say the size of the Pesach, where we say, well, that's the Pesach that we will consider the mess to be taken out of. It has to be large enough that the entire mess can be taken out of. So if it's a person that is so large, if it's a mess that needs a doorway of 8 by 8, then that's the minimum shear. The 4 by 4, the dalet is for an average person. But if you're dealing with an Oig Melech Habashan, it has to be the size that would fit him. So what do we see over here? We see over here that we don't base it on the average size. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, he says over here, he himself says that it's based on the size of the person in question. So therefore, how can you say that we say over there that for the Erev we base it on the average size? But the Gemara says, Abaya says that, Abaya who mentioned the Brisa previously, mentioned this halacha by Erev, Abaya hasam heichalabe. Well, yes, it's true that by the mess, by the Pesach, we say it has to be his size, because if it's not large enough for his size, then what are you going to do? Cut up the mess? Dismember it? We wouldn't do that. So in order to say that this is the Pesach that he's going to be taken out of, it has to be a Pesach that you can bring him out of. You can bring this mess out of. The fact that it is large enough to bring a different mess out of that doesn't show you anything, that doesn't demonstrate anything over here, because the halach is that where the mess, the Pesach, that the mess is going to be taken out of, that one is tamei. If it's designated, that's tamei, the rest are torah. But if the Pesach is dalet al dal, but if the mess practically cannot be taken out of that Pesach, it doesn't accomplish anything. So that's why over there it has to be the size of the mess, the Oig Melech Habashan. But in terms of Erev, all you need is a suda that's choshev, and therefore if it's choshev for an average person, we say it's choshev for an Erev, even for the large person. Do the Rabbanan argue with him or not? Legami this din of the Pesach of the mess. Do they argue or not? Tashma the Amar Rabba Brachana Amar B'Yechnan and Mel Chabashin Pischa Ba'arba. It says clearly over here rather, the name of Yechnan, that, or even for an oig melech ha'aboshan, the size is arba, 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. So you see clearly over here that that's the size even for the oig melech ha'aboshan. Must be the Rabbanan argue. Mor says no, it's not a raya that they argue because Hosam Dikab Sachim Ketanim Tuva Vikachad Havarbo Davada Ki Kamarvach Bahu Kamarvach. It's not a raya because I can say over there, yes, they say that the halach over there is that Ayik Malchash's Arbal Arabam is 4 Tefachim, but that's talking in a scenario where one is 4 by 4, the other ones are very small. So it's assumed, therefore, that it's considered to be that this one of Dalet al Dalet is considered to be the designated Pesach for the Oig Melech HaBoshen. Because the other ones are very small. There's no reason to assume that they'll take a very small Pesach and have to go through the effort of taking a very small one and making it very large. If you have one which is Dalet al Dalet, so it is not large enough. But to expand that Pesach, to make it larger, is a lot less effort than to take a tiny Pesach and to make it large enough for the Melech HaBoshen. So therefore, we will assume in that case, and even Rav Shimon ben Elazar would assume, and we would say in that case, that over there, we would say the one that the mess is going to be taken out of is the Dalet al Dalet, because it has a lot less effort to open that one to make that larger than the other one. So you have no raya that in a case, however, where they are psachim which are not, the discrepancy is not that great. If you have it, one Pesach is Dalet al Dalet and the others are slightly less, you have no raya that what the Rabbanan would say in that case. You have no raya what the Rabbanan would say in a case where the Pesach over there, with the Rabbanan say over there that the Oig Melech HaBoshen has to be matzel, it has to be the size of the Pesach that is according to his dimensions. You can make an error with raw meat. And again, as we discussed previously, there is some discussion, do we mean mamish raw meat, or do we mean that it's salted meat? But raw meat, we would say bottled daita. So there's a discussion on that. You can use raw eggs. V'kama Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Sinai Omar. He said Sinai, which means Rav Yosef. He said Shtein, 2 eggs. Now eggs are b'shas Chag. They are sometimes eaten raw. So over there, the Rishonim have less of a discussion on raw eggs, because raw eggs sometimes are eaten raw. So the shear is 2 eggs. So we learned in the Mishnah that a person makes a neder from a mayim hamazon, is mutter from a neder from hamazon rather. He is mutter b'mayim hamelach. Water and salt is not considered to be mazon. So we can be making Erev, it's brought into the context over here because Erev also you cannot use water and salt. A person makes a neder that he's not going to get benefit from mozain, but water and salt is not called mozain. Let's say it's a kasha on Rav and Shmuel, the Rav and Shmuel, Damat Havayu, and Mevarchim Barim Minazainis, Elach HaMeshes Hamina Bilvad. They say, what is mozain? Mozain are the 5 types of grain. And you don't make a bracha barim mezainas unless it's the 5 types of grain. So they hold you don't make mezainas on rice. So let's say that this is a kasha over here, because we see over here that a noidim in a mazon, everything is considered mazon, just water and salt is not mazon. But we already asked the kasha on them in brachos, brachos. When they brought this halach, we asked the kasha on them. So more says, but still, let's say it's a kasha from our Mishnah. So he says no. What we don't mean over here in our Mishnah is mozain, even though it says a neidim in a mozain, we don't mean literally mozain. When he said kol hazan alai, anything that satisfies me. So anything a person eats enough of anything, then he'll get full, except water and salt. That will not fill him. So my melech zayin, hakol mile zayin. But other things do fill you up. But there, Rav and Shmuel are talking about not zon, they're talking about mazon. Mazon is something else. They hold only the 5 types of grain are called mazon. Other things are not called mazon. I fact more Vama Rabba Rakana Ki Vazilna Basai Rav Yechla Mechel Perdiginusa. He said that when I went back after Rav Yechla and I accompanied him, we went to the Kinneret to eat the fruits of the Ginoiser, these delicacies of special fruit. Ki Avina Beimea, when we were 100 of us, the contingents of 100, Asara, each one of us would take 10 of these fruit. Ki Avina Beasara, when we were 10 people, each one took 100. So in total, regardless, in total there were 1,000 fruits. V'chol Mea Minayu, or have a machzik and these fruit were so large that 3 of them would fill up a basket of 3 saw. And nevertheless, we ate all of them. And we said shua, make a shua that we didn't eat ziyuna. Now you're saying that everything fills you up. Well, they said that they swore that they weren't full. Even after they ate these huge, large fruit, and so many of them, they said they weren't full. Ema mezayna, not ziyana, but mezayna, that they made sure that they didn't have mazayn. Now, mazayn and ziyana are different. Zayn is something that fills you. Mazayn, and neither min a mazayn, or Rav and Shmuel has said that a mazayn, you don't make a mezayna, it's a mazayn, means something that not only fills you up, but it fortifies you. It's something that gives you strength and it fortifies you, nourishes you. That is only by the mazon. So Rav Shmuel said it's only the 5 minim. Others did argue and they said it's rice as well, but they're not talking about simply about something that fills you up. They're talking about something that does more than that. It sustains you. Amarav Huna Amarav Shua Shalayachal Kikar Zuva. A person says a Shua that I will not eat this Kikar Ma'arvin Leibo. Nevertheless, he can use it for an Arab. He can use it for an Arab because he's only saying he's not going to eat it. So, but he could use it for an Arab, even though it's something that he's can't eat, but it's kosher for an Arab. But Kikar Zualai, but if he says the Kikar's on me, which implies not only eating, which all types of ano, Ein Ma'arvin Leibo, he cannot use it for an Arab. Mace will ask you a kasha and later min hakikar marvin. If a person makes a neder from a kikar, he could use it for an Arab. So he says a neder, my love, domer alai, isn't that when he said that this is also to me, and even though he said alai, he can still use it for an Arab. Well, it says no, loy domer zu. It says that not that he said this is upon me, he said that he will not eat. It's a shua that he will not eat. It said loy domer alai zu. We're talking in a case where he said shua, the way Rashi explains it is, meaning he said zu, even though it says that he says noider min hakikar. It says noider, but noider could be used in a generic way. But Lamaisa, more specifically, is what he said, a shua that I'm not going to eat this. So it's only the achila that he answered on himself, not the hana. It's mistaber to say that. The Tan is safe. It's in the safe. That's when he said a shua that I won't taste it. Aval amra. So Davka we said I will not taste it, but he didn't answer from other hanos. So that's why you can use it for an eruv. But if he answered it for other hanos, it would be also. What are you going to say? Aval amra alai mai. But you mean to say that if you said alai and he answered from other hanos, you mean to say that he would not be able to use it for an Eruv? We learned Kikar hektish ein marlavo, but it says in the Sefer of the Brisa, he says that it's hektish, that you cannot use it for an Eruv. Then, if it's ein marlavo, if it's ein marlavo behektish, because you cannot make an Eruv with something which is hektish, liftig v'lisni b'dida. Well, why jump to hektish if you're saying it's only also if he says alai, but if he said zu would be mutter, so why jump to a case of hektish? So listen, no, you can be machalik even in the case of neder. But zu. When is we say that it's mutter only when he said zu? Aval amar alai and marmaloba. But if you said alai and it answered all kinds of ano, you can't use it for neder if it's true what you're saying. Why jump to the case of hektish? He'll tell you, you mean to say, but you want to say that if you said a lie, you could use it for an eruv. You could use it for an eruv. It's only the hektish you can't. So kasha reisha, the reisha is a kasha. So Gemara says no. Really, I'll tell you that a lie is mutter, that it's mutter for an error, and it's chasur mechser. If you make a neder from a kikar, it's mutter for an error. And even you said a lie, even he answered it from other hanos, it's also mutter. It's nasik. It's even though he said a lie, it's still mutter. It's as if he said a shud, I'm not going to eat it. Even though he answered it from other hanos, it's as if he said he's not going to eat it, and it's mutter. So that wouldn't be a kasha. Now we'll see shortly. We'll discuss why a lie, if he answered other hanos, why should it be mutter for an error? But I'll go upon him. That's how you can fatayich the reisha. But mikol malkum kasha l'Rav Huna. But it's a kasha for Rav Huna because he seemed to be implying clearly over here that if he made a neder, if he made a shvuah, whether he said zu, whether he said a lie, you could use it for an erev. It's only if he made it hektish that you can't use it for an erev. From here you see that it's not like Rav Huna, but Rav Huna hu d'omer k'Rabbi Eliezer. He holds like Rabbi Eliezer, the son of Rabbi Eliezer, if a person said a shua that I'm not going to eat this kikar, you could use it for an erev. But kikar zu alai ain't marvin lo ba. But if he said alai, he answered it from other hanos, not only eating, you cannot use it. If a person answers himself with food, you can, from eating the food, you can use it for an erev. But if it's food that becomes also to the person, ein ma'arven loy ba. But Rabbi Eliezer Aimer, kikar zu alai, ma'arven loy ba, kikar zu hektish, ein ma'arven loy ba, if you shein ma'arven behekdishes. Rabbi Eliezer says, no, it's only a hektish where you can't use it. It's only made a hektish, but if you made it in neder, whether it's zu, whether it's a lie, whether other hanos, you could use it. So you see, Rabbi Eliezer says that if he answers it by hanot himself, it's mutter. The more answers straight to no, Rabbi Eliezer. Two versions of what Rabbi Eliezer holds, and therefore Rav Huna went according to the previous version of what Rabbi Eliezer. This one is another version on this price of what Rabbi Eliezer holds, but that's what Rav Huna says. But the other, or the second version of Rabbi Eliezer, or the other mahalach in the Gemara, the other brisa that we had before, holds that whether it's zu or alai, it doesn't matter. So if a person said kikar zu, if he says shua shaloyech kikar zu, I'm not going to eat this piece of bread, we understand why he can use it for an erev, because he only answered from eating it, but he can use it for an erev. Now, like we learned before, other things, even though it's something that he himself can't eat it, it's a yayin l'nozir, etc., but it's edible. If someone else can, it's kosher for an erev. That we understand. But if he says a lie that he's not going to get any hana from it, so why should it be good for an eruv? Why should it be usable? So what's the dion over here in the Gemara? So Rav Huna says you can't, but the second version of Rabbi Eliezer and the previous brayos you can't. So Rashi explains in the second lashon of Rashi explains as follows: that the issue over here is that if he says he's not going to get hana from this bread, he's using it for an eruv. Is an eruv considered to be a hana? Now we have a klal that mitzvah slav lahenis nitnup. So if he's using it for a mitzvah, it's not considered to be a hana. And since we hold that you're only ma'arav l'davar mitzvah lamaisa, therefore this is a mitzvah. Mitzvah slav lahenis nitnup. Even though he said he's not going to get hana from this bread, this is not considered a hana, and therefore he's allowed to use it for an eruv.